AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.
The list of players who are entering the transfer portal continues to grow. So as of December 9th, let's take a look at the top 5 players that the USC Trojans should target. Hey Trojan family, what's up? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB Network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Just this morning, we talked about how the potential of Carrington Pierce could be joining USC from the transfer portal cornerback, most recently with Oklahoma State, but previously a JUCO product here in Rancho Cucamonga in California. I didn't realize till people commented, I don't know how I missed this, but he's the brother of Christian Pierce. So obviously it makes a ton of sense there. But this list is going to change frequently. I'll probably do a segment on this weekly leading up to till we actually get to the portal when it opens January 2nd. But as of December 9th, I want to give kind of 5 targets for USC to pursue. And you get your guys' debate, get your thoughts, but also just give you some information on some of these guys of positions of need that I think will be highly sought after for the USC Trojans. So let's just get into it. We don't got to fluff around, waste time. I think the number one, well, let's just say this. Linebacker is probably the position that everyone's looking at. Obviously interesting considering, USC had 3 linebackers enter the portal. But that signals, I think, they're going in a different direction with the type of player, the skill set, but also probably some of the experience they're looking for as they develop some of the other guys, the incoming freshmen in Talanoa Ely and some of the other, AJ Tuateli in the 25 class still on the roster as of now. So developing those guys, maybe bring in some experience. So linebackers certainly, I think, will be a position targeted, and we'll see what kind of talent continues to enter and stack up, because I really think they need to go after a guy that has playing experience, that can come in, compete with Desmond Stevens, compete with Jaden Walker, along with the rest of the players on the roster, and potentially be your day one starter with, losing Eric Gentry and some of the other guys they pushed out. So the number one name that everyone's talking about, so this is going to be no surprise, Kamori House. He is going to be a true junior transferring from North Carolina, St. John Bosco product. So a local kid. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't love going after guys that have already transferred twice. This will now be his 3rd team in 3 years. We've seen this play out before with some of the others. Now, I don't know all the background on House, and obviously we know North Carolina was a bit of a disaster this year in Bill Belichick's first year. So, I think that kind of gets a reset there. So overall, I don't love that when you see kids that have already transferred 2-3 times. It kind of shows a little bit of instability there, a little bit of, not willing to maybe earn certain things, and maybe when certain promises weren't kept, they, decide to go elsewhere. I don't know everyone's situation, so I'm not trying to generalize, but that's just overall, like when you're looking for portal guys, you're looking for guys that have been starters and then kind of looking for that last run, or were right off the bat, realized it wasn't a fit and then moved on. So, but House is a great player, played at Washington last year, put up good numbers. He was linked to USC last year in the portal, obviously because of the SoCal ties, then goes to North Carolina, and obviously now heavily linked again, especially because USC certainly needs a linebacker. 6'2", 210 pounds, so a little light still, and I'll get into that a little bit more about kind of what I I think USC is looking for from linebacker and why they kind of pushed Tongawai out, if you will. But 4-star, high production. When you look at what he was able to do over his 2 seasons. So last year as a true freshman at Washington, 33 total tackles, a forced fumble, and an interception, 4 passes defensed. I don't know if I said last year, 2024. Last year, as a true sophomore with North Carolina, 78 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, an interception, and 1 pass defensed. So production's there. A guy that's been in 2 big major programs and got a lot of playing time, which is kind of what you're looking for. ESPN actually has him listed at 215, so maybe you can get it, but they have him at 6 foot, whereas my other wherever I had him had at 6'2". So you never know truly with these sizes, but I think USC is looking for 230 plus typically, but I think because of House's production, it's a guy they could still certainly target and go after. So that's one certainly to keep your eye on. Probably the number 1 target right now, December 9th. Remember, a lot more names are going to enter, but as of right now, that's one to keep an eye on. Number 2, Nick Marsh. Talked about him when he first entered, wide receiver, Michigan State. Big body, 6'3", 200 pounds, 4-star receiver, good production. Just this past year, he's played both his freshman year and now his sophomore year, so he'll be a true junior. 662 yards receiving last year, 6 touchdowns in a pretty anemic offense at Michigan State. Very inconsistent quarterback play, very inconsistent play calling. Just an inconsistent program that obviously has moved on from their head coach and just hired Pat Fitzgerald as their new coach. So Nick Marsh is probably one of the top targets for USC. I don't think that's a surprise when you look at the receiving room and we assume both Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane will be going to the NFL draft. Not guaranteed. One or both could be back. I heard someone tell me, I was talking to someone and they said that, Mekhi Lemon was maybe actually, was open to the idea of coming back. Just that's how much he loves this program and loves where it's trending and wants to kind of be there when it reaches its pinnacle. But obviously, when you're going to be the first receiver taken in the draft, it would be unwise to miss out on that opportunity. And Jacoby Lane, we'll see what ends up happening with him as well. But assuming they're both gone, you're going to go get one alpha receiver in the portal just because of the youth and inexperience in the room. Talked about it a ton, so I don't need to go into deep details, but I think the room is extremely talented. Obviously, you have 6 receivers in this 26 class, but you're returning to Nick Hines, Corey Sims, Ramiro Eisen. You still got, some of the guys that transferred last year, Zacharias Williams, who has a lot of experience from his freshman year, was just banged up this year. Prince Strong has a lot of experience from 2 years ago, or I guess last season with Boise State, was banged up this year. So a lot of talent, but you need that true kind of number 1 guy to pair with Tanook and a lot of the youth. And Nick Marsh would be that in spades. And, he could give you 1 year, and then if he has a good year, go to the draft. It'll be his 3rd season, or he has 2 years of eligibility. So he could stay another year, and you have even more depth and more elite talent there. Number 3 for me, and I'm going to stick with linebacker. And this is one that just entered today. And this is a really interesting one, and one that I think is a perfect fit. Maybe this should be number 1, actually, for USC. I have a slight hesitation, but it should be alleviated even before the portal officially opens. Derek McDonald, linebacker from Syracuse. Now, he had a hip injury early in the year, and so ended up deciding after playing 4 games to apply for a medical redshirt to give him a 6th year of eligibility. He's played 5 years, redshirt senior. Now, based on history and protocol, he should be granted that if he has not been already. I haven't seen for sure. But after the whole DJ Winfield thing, if you're USC, you got to make sure 100% he is eligible to play for you. You cannot go after a guy that's even has still T's to cross and I's to dot in any sort of paperwork if you're going to pursue a guy, because that left USC really out to dry with the Wingfield situation. Obviously, their offensive line ended up playing really well, but you can't do that again another season. So that's the only reason, honestly, why he is not number 1. But as long as that clears, and hopefully it's cleared even before the portal opens and he gets granted that 6th year of eligibility with the medical red shirt, similar to what like a Prophet Brown is going to attempt to do, then this would be my number one target because of a couple reasons. One, the size, 6'4", 230. You look at USC's linebacker room and who they moved on from, and, you know, however many feel about Matai and all that, I think the dude's super talented. But when you look at kind of who's left in the room, Tamir Robinson, 6'3", 230. Desmond Stevens, 6'3", 235. Jaden Walker, 6'2", 235. Elijah Newby, 6'3", 235. Like, it's pretty clear they want guys that are 230 plus in their linebacker room, which is why even with Kamari House, who I think has a ton of talent, he is a little bit smaller than that. So we'll see if they truly pursue that. Derek McDonald, 6'4", 230. Right on the precipice of that size that I think they're looking for, and a size you kind of need in the Big Ten. So it's actually really fitting. The other reason, because I got 3 reasons. That's one, the size. Number 2, the production. I mean, dude's played, obviously hurt this year, but played the previous 3 years, had really good production for Syracuse and Fran Brown. 2024, 51 tackles. 2023, 63 tackles. 2022, 41 tackles. Had 2.5 sacks in 2023. So he's just a really good downhill running kind of linebacker, old school smash mouth that can come in and bring that production with him and be a real leader in the room, and also a guy that's been there, done that, which, you know, that's what they lack this year. And that's not saying Eric Gentry wasn't that, but Eric Gentry was more of your kind of outside hybrid linebacker, and Derek McDonald can be the true kind of inside, whether he's competing with Stevens or whether they're playing alongside each other or whatever it looks like, a guy that would bring in a ton of production. And third, if he gets the medical red shirt cleared, he has only 1 year of eligibility, which is, in my opinion, actually not a bad thing, because you want to see these young guys stay and develop, but they just may not be ready this year in a very pivotal year for Lincoln Riley. So this allows you to have 1 year with him alongside Walker and Stevens. We'll see how Newby keeps developing. Tamir Robinson, they seem to like, as of now, not in the portal, and his size, he's a redshirt sophomore, so he'll be a redshirt junior, has 2 years left. And then obviously the young class, and AJ Tuatele, who I didn't mention, who I think they like, and his size, he's up around 220 now, could get even a little bit bigger in that. And then obviously this freshman cast with Talanoa Ely and the rest of the bunch. So you're not like stunting any of their growth by bringing in, a really young cat that you plan on keeping for a while. So Derek McDonald, if he clears that red shirt year, might be my number one target in the portal. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Maiava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. All right. Next, that was number 3, I said, even though he's kind of number 1. Number 4, I'm going to go with Clemson safety Khalil Barnes. Another really solid player that can come in and start right away for a room that just is going to lose their 2 starting safeties this year. When you look at Bishop Fitzgerald, out of eligibility, should enter the draft, and Kamari Ramsey, again, hasn't officially announced, but likely will be entering the NFL draft. Khalil Barnes is a junior going into his senior season, final year of eligibility. So again, has that 1 year production, played in a big league, played in some big games over his career, and you're not stunting the growth of young guys because it's not a guy coming in that's, commanding 2-3 seasons. It's still going to be development. You can pair him along with Christian Pierce, and you have 2 really good skilled safeties now, if that's were the case. Kennedy Urlacher, a great depth piece. Marquise Gallegos, plus, all the other young cats that are coming up and coming in. So I like this from a production standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, and from a size, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Last year, 40 tackles, 2024, 61 tackles, had 4 interceptions in 2024. So just a highly productive player that I think, as we've said many times in this portal, the majority of these portal additions that USC will be making are going to be impact player right off the, if I can speak here, are going to be impact players right off the bat. And so anyone they're bringing in, there'll be a couple depth pieces. The majority will be competing for starting spots. Doesn't mean they'll win them all. I mean, some of these young guys might develop, great over the offseason and seize these jobs, which is not a bad thing whatsoever. But a lot of these additions will be added with the idea that they will come in and start. And Khalil Barnes can certainly be that. So that was number 4. And number 5, right now, there is not a ton of elite defensive line options. I think that's one that obviously fans will want to see, and ones that, will need to happen with some of the losses and some of the veteran losses, and just whether it's for depth or just a guy that can come in right off the bat. But a guy that I'm really intrigued about, really just purely on size, doesn't have a ton of production yet through his career, but the Trojans did face him this year in the Big Ten, so he's a Big Ten pedigree, and he has tremendous size that can come in there and stop the gap and whatnot, is Jamarian Harkless out of Purdue. He is a sophomore, redshirt sophomore, I believe. Yeah, so he'll be a redshirt junior next season, so 2 years of eligibility. Finished the year with just 13 tackles, so 2.5 sacks, so not like crazy production, but from the interior, still had some production there on a Purdue team that is obviously rebuilding. But the size, 6'3", 345 pounds. That is intriguing as someone that's played in the Big Ten and can come in, and even if he's not like that elite interior guy, can be another rotational piece. Now, I know I just got done saying, like, hey, everyone they're pursuing is going to be a quality starting type guy. On that D-line, you still are going to have a rotation and still rotate bodies to keep things fresh. And hopefully in year 2, we see a lot more increased reps for Jakeem Stewart, for Floyd Boucard. We'll see what happens with Devin Tompkins if he returns for a final season or if he elects to go to the draft. Jamal Jarrett obviously returning that big body. So you figure Jamal Jarrett and Jamarian Harkless, that's like 700 pounds between the 2 of them. If those 2 guys are in third and short situations, those are some big bodies you want out there that you don't necessarily have to have out there for 3 downs. So Harkless is intriguing. Like I said, not a ton of elite talent on the defensive line in the portal yet. I guarantee that will change as the weeks continue to drag on and get closer to that portal entry and to some of these bowl games being wrapped up. But he's one to keep an eye on. So those are my 5 biggest targets. I'll just give you some honorable mentions. Boo Carter, another safety, 5'11", 200 pounds, 4-star, junior from Tennessee. So played in the SEC. Really good player. So another one that, if you don't end up getting Khalil Barnes, a Boo Carter is a guy at the safety position that could come in and start right off the bat. Played big game football over at Tennessee and started there. So that's another name to look for. Ashton Stamps was one, LSU cornerback, that I think some people have started talking about. I'd love to hear more his story. The production's there. I think he's put up some really good, the last 2 years at LSU, played some really good football. USC saw him last year in Las Vegas in that season opener. And, finished in 24th, 50 tackles, 12 passes defensed. So definitely put up some numbers. 6 foot 175, redshirt junior. So has some eligibility left, 2 years. The question is, this year he opted at the beginning of the year to take a redshirt year and sit out the rest of the year. And that was before Brian Kelly was fired. Now, it's one thing if, your head coach gets fired and you're like, okay, this season now is basically toast. Our aspirations are done. Like, I'd rather save my eligibility and then reassess. He, based on what I read, took that before. Now, the writing was kind of on the wall. Kelly's seat was real hot. But he decided that before Kelly got fired. I mean, Brian Kelly was the one to tell reporters that he had decided to do that. So I just love to hear more about that story. I'm not necessarily saying that's a red flag. We know the history with Baylor Alexander here at USC. Not every situation is the same, so we don't know all the background to that. But it's why I don't have him as like my top 5 right now. Like, I want to look more into that. And one of you probably knows, so comment below if you know more to the story. But that's just something that when you see that, you want to learn a little bit more about and see kind of the situation of why that did occur. Last one I'll throw out there, and this is more, again, just kind of pedigree and size. Another linebacker, Caleb Wheatland, 6'1", 226, out of Auburn. He actually transferred from Maryland. He had better production at Maryland. Didn't actually end up playing much at Auburn this year. Was expected to be one of their starting backers and kind of got passed. So, again, his situation, we'll see. I don't know if he's a guy that you're like, okay, cool, that guy's slotting in as a starter day one. Maybe more of like a Tamir Robinson vibe, at least. Not the same type of player, but I just mean like coming from a team that, good size, coming from a big name, big logo program. It didn't play a whole lot, but did have some experience prior to that. So just a name thrown out there, not on my top 5, but at 226 right now, 230, has that weight that it seems like USC is certainly looking for. So there you have it. There's my top 5 plus 3, 4 honorable mentions to look at as of December 9th. This list will change probably every 24 hours. I'm sure while I've been recording, more names have entered the portal that I'm like, oh, that'd be a great one in the top 5. So I'll be doing this weekly, updating this, plus go over to our message board on LAFBnetwork.com. I'll have a running count for all these, different targets. We can conversate there, and you can throw any names out you want as well. Plus we have the USC transfer portal tracker of who's entering, and I'll have one for who's coming in once that does officially begin. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button here at the USC LAFB YouTube channel. We certainly appreciate it. Become a member, get you discounts on merch, plus other perks, plus a free sign up to our message board, which is always free anyway. So you can do it through YouTube or through LAFBnetwork.com. Always free, and we're trying to build that up. Thank you as always, family. I'll be back later tonight. More stuff. I think we're talking 2027 linebackers here in a couple hours. So keep that bell notification on. Hit that subscribe button. Talk to you all soon. Appreciate you, family. And as always, fight on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.